In another installment of Conservatives Only Pretend to Like Freedom and Capitalism, we have Paul Joseph Watson, someone who I've considered to be unique given that he does not seem to be handcuffed by religion like most conservatives. And despite the fact that Paul Joseph Watson works for the detestable InfoWars, I got the impression that he's different from lunatics like Alex Jones, mainly because he does not spout ridiculous conspiracy theories.
So he did not want to be taken alive, and reportedly he did it. And it was Antifa crap everywhere. And other things I'm not supposed to mention. That is directly from the hostage rescue team, by the way, Paul. And I'm going to delete this information now. Keep going.
Well, obviously, that's huge. That's huge if it turns out to be true.
Yeah, hey, Paul, Paul. This is from high-level CIA, right here. That's who directly from, and this is from the hostage rescue team. You know I don't make sources up. Go ahead.
No, all I'm saying is that I'm going on the information I have, and I don't know.
No, absolutely. I'm just saying this is big breaking news.
I've enjoyed much of Paul Joseph Watson's work over the last couple of years, and the way that he pulls no punches when mocking hysterical leftists and virtue signaling celebrities. But the more that I follow Paul Joseph Watson, the more that I think he really does not stand for anything other than defeating left-wing politics. Which is fine, I'm all for mocking the left, they deserve it, but if you have nothing to fill the void that you're creating, then you're just a destroyer. I first noticed this when Paul Joseph Watson was over the moon for the populist five-star movement in Italy.
Luigi Di Maio, leader of the Five Star Movement, has also suggested that GDP will no longer be seen as the primary indicator of economic growth. This represents a wholesale rejection of neoliberalism and a return to a kind of localist, high Tory style protectionist view that rampant capitalism and corporatism has massively eroded communities and culture. This idea that monopoly capitalism has in fact harmed social cohesion, diluted and vulgarized culture, and corroded morality is one now taking root amongst increasing numbers of thinkers and influencers on the new right.
That's right, folks. Capitalism and corporations are just destroying morality and social cohesion in Italy. The collective takes precedence over the rights of the individual. To hell with corporations, the five-star movement only wants small mom and pops operating in Italy.
The new government plans to address Italy's plummeting birth rate by boosting welfare for mothers and providing free childcare facilities. By upholding the country's Catholic identity and proposing to register and monitor mosques, the populist coalition is also showing its intention to reassert Italy's Christian heritage, putting itself at loggerheads with the Pope, who has embraced a wishy-washy internationalist view of Islam, completely at odds with the fact that Islamism is an invasive, aggressive doctrine that threatens the very survival of Europe.
That's right, Italians. Fuck capitalism and greedy corporations. Get back on the dole, have more children in exchange for welfare checks, and go back to the religious institution that's headed by Comrade Pope Francis and is currently dealing with a massive rape scandal. Paul Joseph Watson loves capitalism when it comes to owning the socialist left, but if Google exercises their property rights, Google is a monopoly and needs to be regulated. Fuck your private company argument.
How about no?
First off, yes, Google is a private company. Google only spent over $1 billion on purchasing YouTube, and probably more money developing and innovating YouTube over the last decade. I don't know about you guys, but if I spent over $1 billion on a brand new toy, then you're damn right I get to decide who gets to play with my brand new toy. It's important to note here that you either believe in private property or you don't. If your property is at the mercy of moral mobs and voting masses that can wield the government's gun into telling you how to use your property in the name of some arbitrary sense of fairness or public interest, well, then it's not private property anymore. Not that Paul Joseph Watson cares. Paul Joseph Watson seems totally fine with government telling him how to use his property and spend his money, so long as the government is not run by the EU, Antifa, or Jeremy Corbyn. Keep in mind that this tweet was posted before greedy corporations like Google, Apple, Spotify, and Facebook gave InfoWars the boot, causing Paul Joseph Watson to really go off the deep end with his hatred for capitalism.
Privately owned monopolies controlling public discourse is harmful to the very concept of a free society.
Translation: society takes precedence over the property rights of the individual. And don't get me started on his reckless usage of the word monopoly, using left-wing talking points like scary monopolies to argue for government regulation, going as far to praise Noam fucking Chomsky to own tech giants, and of course the hilarious apples to oranges comparison between government power and corporate power with this stupid meme that anti-capitalist conservatives like Paul Joseph Watson love to toss around. There's a long history of governments treading on people, to put it lightly. Given that government has a monopoly on the use of force and is often backed by the military and law enforcement, the worst a corporation can do is simply not do business with you, which is well within their rights. Unless, of course, Paul Joseph Watson thinks that he's entitled to other people's property and services, in which case, how exactly is Paul Joseph Watson different from a Jeremy Corbyn-loving socialist?
That's a mystery.